Full disclosure, I actually have not completely finished my time at Portia, but I've played over 60 hours, so I think I've seen enough of the game to be able to say something about it. If I someday finish it, and something drastic has changed, I'll make an update video. I think the best way to describe the game is that it's a farm life simulation game if you don't actually like farming that much. It's also the world's most comforting post-apocalyptic game, as it's set after some unknown catastrophe the world is recovering from. You play as a new arrival to an up-and-coming town, but you're not a farmer, you're a builder. You can grow some plants in raised beds as resources and buy others, but most of the materials you collect by foraging, mining, or fighting for them. All of these core gaming mechanics are perfectly functional. You pick your tool or weapon of choice, cut down trees, break down rock, or kill monsters. The combat is probably the most interesting part of the game, as it's unusual for the genre. It is a core mechanic. Some main quests involve fighting enemies, and you will need to dungeon crawl to collect necessary materials. If you're concerned about needing to be good at fighting, don't be. The game only uses basic combat mechanics like attack and dodge, and you're likely to be fine so long as you're appropriately leveled and have a decent weapon, which is pretty easy to build, buy, or collect. You shouldn't expect a real challenge out of the combat, as it is still a farm simulation game, but it is a nice break from collecting or crafting. You can even challenge NPCs in the town to spar to improve your relationships with them or get rewards. All of these different methods of gathering materials serve the main purpose of the game, to build newer and grander things for the town. While you start small with a wooden bridge and bus stops for fast travel around the map, you can eventually build large structures that reshape the face of the town and give you access to new areas, with many of the grandest projects being commissioned by the town itself.
In other news, we've decided to proceed with the building of a bridge to Amber Island. A builder has already been picked for this project. Also, we are in preparations for the construction of the DD transportation system. I'll be securing the funding over the coming weeks and pick a builder soon. Any donations are welcome.
Like other farm life sims, it will take over an in-game year to build up your home and complete the main quests, which feels appropriate for the size of the projects that you're creating and how you're growing the town. This gives you time to develop relationships with the NPCs, as it takes a while to get to know them, as the game prevents you from spamming a certain kind of interaction, like gift giving, just to build the relationship faster to reap the rewards of the higher levels of friendship, or if you date and marry them. The year has seasons and holiday events complete with themed mini-games, which serve as opportunities for special rewards and also a chance to improve relationships. If you don't win something the first year, you're able to try the next and save up the holiday tokens for it. As for why I haven't beaten the game despite putting over 60 hours into it, there are a few issues. The first is more minor and on the narrative side. As the game is simulating real life, it has various problems and other scenarios that the player has to resolve. For example, there's an investigation into the town's water supply being poisoned that the player has to fix. But there's also some conflict between the townfolk.
What? How come I didn't hear about the bridge? When was this?
Oh, now I finally get to fish there.
He's asking for money again.
This is where the game has a huge missed opportunity. As the world is post-apocalyptic, there are CDs, which they call data disks, and other relics the player can find to give to local scientists for them to research and use to create blueprints for new machines to build. Obviously, the scientists are very pro digging up the past and remaking old technology anew to improve the town.
What do we have here? Oh, a data disk.
You know what it is?
You want to know? This is actually related to how you can discover new diagrams for your workshop handbook. We rely on relic components from the past to build a lot of our current constructs. Anyway, just remember that if you find any data disks, bring them to me, okay?
But there is a second faction, a church where you can use the data disks to purchase seeds and other natural materials. They avoid past technology as they believe it was what brought about the apocalypse in the first place.
Good day, Builder. Oh dear, a data disk.
You know what this is?
Of course, this is what the ancients used to store information on their technologies back in the age of corruption. It is highly dangerous because there's a chance this little item here could contain the blueprint for Armageddon. When you discover more discs, bring them to us, and we'll give you more seeds. You'll be doing this world a great service.
The game just refuses to delve deeper into this conflict, even though the player's job ties directly into what should be a major issue for the town as the player's commissions increase in size, shape more of the environment, and grow in technological complexity. I understand the game is meant to be whimsical and not stressful, but I think there is a possibility for there to be more discussion on the topic without tipping too far over. Something more like a philosophical discussion rather than a screaming match. It would be a method of engaging a little more deeply with the player and how they might think about this fictional work they're doing. Instead, it's just not dealt with beyond the surface level. Aside from this missed opportunity, the more troubling issue with my time at Portia is the failing flow of gameplay after you level up to a certain point, which is the real reason I stalled out at around 60 hours. As you complete projects, you start having materials automatically delivered to you. First wood, then stones and ores, and there's just less for you to collect yourself. The only thing you really have to spend time on are items you get through combat and the rare materials from mines. At the same time, the components you need to craft in your furnaces and other machines take longer and longer to complete. You have to wait in-world hours or days for them to finish. There's simply not that much to do once you hit this point, especially if you're very efficient like I am. Yes, you could transfer more time into minor side quests, crafting and selling items that take little to no time to make, or into building up relationships with NPCs, but none of them take much time and the game limits the amount of actions you can take with NPCs. It's also where the lack of narrative depth, with no significant or interesting conflicts between NPCs or with the player crops up to weaken the gameplay. There's no way to really pick sides with NPCs and delve into an issue to fill time between builds, for example. You're pretty much left to wait for the builds to finish or for the next themed holiday event. So I stopped playing as there was less to do and less frequent, less rewarding progress. Overall, I think the game is good and I am fond of it. 60 enjoyable hours is still worth it in my books, especially if you get the game on sale. It has enough features and quests to maintain interest for a significant length of time without dipping into feeling like you're grinding the whole time or getting stressed out trying to solve issues. And sometimes it's good to have a game you can take your time working through that has an overall optimistic, positive vibe to it. If you really like farming sims, or maybe something a little to the left of pure farming, I recommend the game. You might not feel the taper off at the 60-hour mark if you don't like farming games that are more demanding and structured. On the other hand, if you really like completing games, and you're also very efficient when it comes to gathering and crafting items to complete quests or builds, this might be one to skip, as you'll probably feel that slowdown and find the experience disappointing. Thank you for watching. If you liked the review, please like and subscribe. If you really liked it, you can support me over on Patreon. Bye!